the types of farming. Now we shall discuss about the different types of farming. We all know that from ancient period to modern period, the development of technology has also impacted different changes in the practice of agriculture also. Earlier, they used to use the tools which are made of wood. Later, they started to use with the made of metals, and now they are using machinery to do agriculture. So, the stage of transition from the wooden tools to machinery has brought a lot of changes in the agricultural patterns. Let us see the different categories of farming systems which are in existence from the ancient period to the modern period. The different types of farming systems are, the first one, the farming can be categorized into three major categories till date. First one is primitive farming. The next one comes as intense subsistence farming, while the third category comes under commercial farming. So, the primitive farming, the intensive subsistence farming, the commercial farming. These are the three major types of farming which we find in the modern days. Now, let us try to find out what is a primitive farming. Primitive farming is the farming used by ancient people. This type of farming was actually practiced by ancient people, or before we have any kind of modern technology got impacted or improved in the lives of the human beings. They used to use the things or utensils like foy, hoe, dao and digging stick. So these all are made with wood, which the primitive people, when man was in a situation where he used to shift from one place to the other place. Earlier, we all know that man had a primitive lifestyle where the civilization was not up to the modern days understanding. Today, we are well dressed, well groomed ourselves, and we started to utilize the technology also on a larger scale according to the requirements of the human beings, and made our life more comfortable and more flexible for us with more amount of luxuries available for mankind. But prior to this, man always used to move from one place to another place, shifting from one region to another region. During that period of time, maybe around some 1st century to 2nd century BC period, or far way back than that, man used to follow the primitive agricultural practice system. In this system, he used to select a patch of land of forest, which he used to clear that one. After clearing that forest, then he used to do the agriculture on that particular patch which he has selected and cleared for doing agriculture. After selecting the land, clearing the patch by removing all the forest trees and all, and making it onto the agricultural land, afterwards he does agriculture for 3 years or 4 years. After a certain period of time, he can recognize that the fertility of the soil comes down day by day. This we can come to know with the output what he is getting from the field. So once when he gets the idea that in the primitive agriculture that the fertility of the land is coming down, then basing on the output what he is getting for the product, for example rice, if rice has been as a crop for him, when the rice crop has been coming its output, earlier if he used to get 100 bags, the next year he may get only 80 bags, the very next year he may fall down to 70 bags. So this kind of rapid fall down will indicate to him that the fertility of the land is being falling down. So this indication he would take as a call, and he leaves that land and he selects a new patch of land. and there again he does the agriculture, same pattern what he has done with the previous system of clearing the land, then again doing agriculture. Again after certain years, like 3 years or 5 years, again he founds that the fertility of the land is coming down, again he leaves that land and moves on to the other land. So in this process, this movement of the man has been compulsory after a certain period of time. That's why this type of cultivation or practice is known as primitive cultivation or shifting cultivation, because it has become a habit of a man who does agriculture has to shift after a certain period of time. This shifting of agriculture made him to become as a shifting person. So this type of agriculture is known as shifting agriculture or jumming agriculture. This shifting or jumming agriculture resulted in the low levels of the fertility of the land to come down. Why the fertility of the land is coming down? Why the land which produced more amount of output in the initial years is not giving the same amount of output in the next years? Because man does not use any kind of fertilizers which are added to it in the modern day to get more amount of output. Today we add many fertilizers and many chemicals to get more amount of output what we require. But during those days he don't know what are fertilizers, he don't know what are pesticides, he just naturally gives the seeds and then does the hard work, and he expects the land to grow the crop and get him the required output. He does not add any artificial pesticides or fertilizers to increase the output margin what he is getting. So this has made the land day by day to degrade its fertility, because day by day the crop has been used and the crops are squeezing the fertility levels of the lands. So slowly it loses its fertility capacity. That is the reason why it is compulsory for the people in the primitive time to shift from one place to the other place. This is primitive farming. Now we shall discuss about the intensive farming. As we discussed about the primitive farming, the primitive farming also gives a natural healing to the land, because after a certain period of time, automatically the farmer is shifting from this land to the other land, which automatically leaves this land to nature to replenish this particular land, and again it brings it into good position while he can use the other land. After a certain period of changing, again he can return back to this land and he can continue the agriculture. This type of farming is actually practiced in the regions of India like northeastern states, Manipur, Mizoram, Assam, and also in Andaman and the Nicobar Islands. Now moving on to the second category of farming, that is intensive subsistence farming. Intensive subsistence farming. The name itself reveals for us here it is intensive in nature. When we talk about intensive, which is very close, they take a very close approach towards the crop in order to derive the maximum output that is possible to get from the crop. So to get the maximum output, automatically, as I told you before, to get the maximum output we need to give some external additional help to the crop so that it can flourish more and get the extra output for us. That is called biochemicals. So biochemicals are given in high amount, are used in the high amount, and also they used to give more preference to irrigation facilities to improve, so once they started to give more amount of biological chemicals into the crop to generate it to give to the seed and generate it into larger tree or a crop, and later where there is a scarcity of water, they started to concentrate more on giving irrigation facilities, and also to adding on to this one, because nowadays we all know that in India we have the average land holding of people coming very less, because 60% of the people hold less than 1 to 1.5 hectare of land under them, and that too because of this right of inheritance. Because of the right of inheritance, right of inheritance, in India, we got the situation where 60 to 70% of the people, those who are actually working in the agriculture lands, do not own more than 1.5 to 1.7 hectares of land. That too, if an individual gets 1.5% as 1.5 hectares as a share of him, and if he is having 2 children, automatically that 1.5 hectare of land will be again divided into 0.75 hectare. And if this 0.75 hectare a person gets, a family, again after his marriage, if he gets 2 children, again this will be redivided into 0.35% of the hectare. So like this, the division of the land has been happening because of the growth of the population, and also because of the equal rights or equal division of the property according to the right of inheritance made the land availability to very less under every individual. At the same time, they are also trying the maximum levels to get the maximum output from the limited amount of land what they had, but they want to extract the maximum output for the crop what they are having. This type of cultivation is known as intensive subsistence farming. In the intensive subsistence farming, they do very close study on the crop, on the land, to how to maximize the output what the crop they have put into the land. So they use high amount of biochemicals, they increase or improve the irrigation facilities, and they try their maximum level to get the maximum output from the limited land. Because of the right to inheritance in India, we have the division of the land happening rapidly and very fastly because of the growth of the population. Even though the average land holding is less than 1 hectare to 1.5 hectares also, people, the farmers are trying their level best to derive the maximum output from this crop what they are having. Now, moving on to the third major category of farming, that is the commercial farming. The commercial farming, the name itself, it reveals for us that here the concentration on the farming is done more explicitly to earn huge profits, to be commercially successful. We generally have movies coming on like commercial lines. In the same way, farming also has adopted the commercial style in order to earn huge profits. So, in order to earn huge profits, many researches have been done, and then they brought the HYV seeds. What are these HYV seeds? The HYV seeds are high yielding variety seeds. So the HYV stands for high yielding variety seeds. So when the high yielding variety seeds are sown in the soil, that would automatically get a huge profitable extent of crop growth for them. That is the promise what we get from the high yielding variety of crops. And they also use the maximum facilities like improving agriculture, using more pesticides, more fertilizers to increase the productivity, and they try to do the maximum utilization. And most of the times we see the commercial cropping happening through plantations. What are plantations? The plantations are a large piece of land taken to cultivate only one particular crop. Like for example, take tea estates where only tea crop has been cultivated. Banana estates, only banana crop will be cultivated. In that way, they do cultivation only for a particular single crop, that is called plantation, on a very large scale. This plantation concept has been actually brought into India by the Britishers. When the Britishers saw towards the good fertile land available in India, they did the teak plantations. These teak plantations, they required the sandalwood and the teak wood to produce most durable boats and ships for them to travel from India to their own motherland. So as per their requirement of that particular time, they did large plantations on this, and also they had cotton plantations, tea plantations, which were actually brought into Indian culture by the Britishers. So they have made a significant contribution to the agriculture also, bringing a particular type of farming known to the Indians. So we have the high yielding variety of seeds giving more amount of output. Then moving on to plantations. These plantations are mostly grown in the states like Assam, then Karnataka, Haryana and Punjab. So all these plantations do a very larger scale of commercial farming, which has been resulted to be more profitable in various states like in Assam, like in Haryana, in Punjab, and also in the southern state of Karnataka, Kerala. We have the rubber plantations. All these things give us a picture of how the agriculture from the initial stage where it was in the primitive farming stage, it reached to the most advanced level of cultivation called commercial farming. So these are the different types of patterns of farming what we have in agriculture. The first type of farming what we discussed earlier was the primitive type of farming. It is also known as slash and burn farming or shifting cultivation. In this primitive farming, the farmer used to clear a patch of land and does the agriculture there for a certain period of time, and later after he found that the fertility of the soil is coming down, then he realizes and he leaves that place dry and moves on to the next place where he can start a new cultivation there, where the fertility of the land is much better than the previous land. That is the primitive agriculture. This kind of agriculture was in practice in India from many centuries. This has now also been found in some parts of India like northeastern states. The next major form of farming what we have in India is the intensive subsistence farming. The intense means very close approach, very clear approach. The maximum output is the main target of the people, those who are doing this intensive subsistence farming. The biochemicals are used in high amount to get the maximum productivity outside, and they concentrate more on the irrigation facilities improvement to get the maximum output. At the same time, we have the commercial cropping, the third major farming system in India, where here they use they can acquire more profits, and this has turned into plantations which were actually brought into India by the Britishers during their ruling period. Now also we are following this one in some of the states like Assam, Karnataka, Haryana and Punjab. So where we have the tea estates, coffee estates, large plantations of the rubber plantations, timber plantations, all these things are the different categories of the cropping patterns what we are following in our country till date.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.